Good morning, it's Karen at Simply Living for Him. I am hoping I am back here officially on the daily devotionals. It's been quite an interesting time. You're going to hear about that today. I'll just explain where I've been. So, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, my husband came down with COVID. And so I literally thought that day that I would separate us from him and 5 days or whatever, we'd be apart and then life would go back to normal. Well, here we are 2 weeks later because one after another, everybody ended up getting it except me. And thankfully, it has been nothing. Like they have hardly been sick at all, but we are doing, the quarantine. So I have been living in my laundry room. Normally, I record and do devotionals upstairs in my office, which is in my bedroom. And so I have been in the laundry room, and my boys have all been living upstairs. And so, we've been doing this quarantine now for 2 weeks. But some of them are getting out and others should be getting out within a day or two. And so hopefully life will go back to normal. And I shouldn't say that because I know that life is never normal. But there have also been so many things that God has taught me in this past 2 weeks that will just probably be part of the devotionals because I just feel like I've been learning so much. It's funny because we had our retreat back in July 13th. And for 2 weeks before that retreat, I was concerned about getting sick, for the retreat. And so I kind of was laying low for 2 weeks before the retreat. I only went out if I had to, and I really tried to lay low because I didn't want to get sick. And then we came home from that retreat and I didn't have a car. My car was in the shop for another week. And then the COVID happened. So I'm going on my 6th week being home. And so I've had a lot of time with the Lord and a lot of thinking time and a lot of, wrestling with him. And in the end, he's just so good. He is so good. I feel like I am emerging from this with so much more, I don't want to say faith, just more of a closeness to him. So that's exciting. But there was a couple of things that I actually wrote down that I wanted to share specifically for today. And there's one point where I was starting to dwell a little bit on the circumstances and, the whole woe is me, because my birthday happened while I was here in the laundry room and I got to spend it with no one because of quarantine. Because I'm also quarantined because I'm exposed to the whole family. So, I was dwelling on that a little bit and kind of dwelling on the things I was missing out on. But then I realized you can't dwell on things you're missing out on if they didn't happen. You can't dwell on something that didn't happen. The Lord didn't allow it to happen. He didn't allow certain things to happen. He didn't allow me to see anybody on my birthday, and that's the way he wanted it. And, we can't mourn things that didn't actually happen. And so, I don't want to dwell on circumstances. I want to deal with them. And I think that's one thing that I've learned in this is I don't want to dwell on the earthly things. I want to walk through them with the Lord and deal with them. Another thing that's happening is my oldest son is leaving in a few weeks for 9 months. And of course, I'm starting to think I've lost all this time with him because we're in the quarantine and we've been separated. And again, I haven't lost anything that I didn't have, And so this is what I've been dealt, and this is what I must deal with. And I don't want to live in this place where my life is dependent on the circumstances each day. My life is dependent on God. My life is dependent on him. And whatever the circumstances of the day, I have to walk through them with him, regardless of what it looks like. And it changes everything when you think that way. It changes just how you look at your circumstances. You're just this is what God has given me today. Let's go. Me and you, Lord, let's walk through it. I'm not going to sit here and dwell on things or mourn things or fret about things or worry about things that haven't happened or, that didn't happen or won't happen. I only know what I know right now in this moment. Right now in this moment, I'm still in the laundry room. Lord, what can I do with this moment? And so that's been on my mind a lot. And just also, um, I don't want, I don't want to wallow. I want to be a warrior. It's very easy to wallow in today's world. Whether you're in a quarantine, whether you're going through this is nothing. You could be going through a much worse trial. I get it. People are going through hard times. But we have two choices: to wallow in it or to be a warrior in it. I want to be a warrior in all things. I want to be a warrior for Christ. I don't want to spend my life anymore focused on the things of this earth, because everything on this earth is going to fade away. Everything on this earth disappoints. Circumstances will constantly disappoint you because we live on this earth, but someday in heaven, there will be no disappointments. So we're studying Colossians in our Simply Living for Him community, and I've been looking at Colossians quite a bit. And so I wanted to read to you from there today a little portion, a little verse. It's in chapter 3. Sorry, I got to get my glasses cleaned up. It's in chapter 3, and it says here, "Since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits at God's right hand in the place of honor and power. Let heaven fill your thoughts. Do not think only about things down here on earth, for you died when Christ died, and your real life is hidden with Christ in God." Woo! Set your mind on things above. While this earth feels so real, and yes, it's real, our real reality is that this isn't all there is, and that we are going to be with Him one day in heaven. That is reality. And if we get so focused on this, and so focused on, oh, woe is me, this day was disappointing, this week was disappointing, what if this happens, what if that happens, we aren't living with the reality that heaven is our home. And that when He died, when Jesus died, we died with Him. Our earthly life is temporary. Our true reality is that someday we're going to live with Him in heaven. And so when we think that way and our perspective is shifted on that, and we are having an eternal perspective, oh my goodness, it makes every single thing here that happens on earth so much easier to deal with. That's what I'm talking about. Instead of wallowing in it, you're a warrior, because you're like, all right, Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Throughout this whole week, I've been constantly thinking, okay, Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Try to explain to my boys. They're stuck upstairs. They're teenagers. Nobody likes that. Okay, what is the Lord teaching you? Because this is going to be over. And yes, I know, again, that this is not the end of the world. This is not suffering like some people are suffering. I get it. But regardless, because everybody's suffering is different, regardless, whatever circumstances you're given, whether they're, really huge struggles or they're kind of minor, are you setting your mind on things above? Are you saying, Lord, what are you doing in my life through this situation? What are you teaching me in this situation? It changes everything. When you think about Jesus constantly, when He is your reason for living this earth, everything changes. You are not caught up in yourself. You are not caught up in your desires. You are not caught up in the circumstances, right? You see the circumstances as a means to get closer to Him. You see every situation that you're dealt with, every situation that you're dealt as a way to walk with Him, to deal with it with Him, to be a warrior, not to wallow. And so I hope that encouraged you today. I know many people out there are struggling with many different things. Guess what? If you are in Christ, this is not our final destination. This is just a means to get there. And in every situation, you have the opportunity to grow closer and closer to the Lord. Don't waste your life on the disappointments of earth, because we are promised that earth will always disappoint. But live your life with your mindset on the realities of heaven, because that is our true home someday. Earth is going to disappoint. Don't be surprised when trials come your way, right? It says that in the Bible as well. Don't be surprised. It's going to happen. Think about, what is the Lord teaching you through this? Think about your perspective in all things. At any moment, at any time, any of us could be called up to heaven. In this moment, right now, am I using my last day for Him because this isn't all there is? Or am I so wrapped up in this that if I were to go home tomorrow, that I spent my last day worrying about things that didn't even happen? So a perspective change is good. And I'm thankful to the Lord for giving me a fresh perspective as I live out here in the laundry room, hopefully for a few more days, to set my mind. This laundry room is not my home. My home is in heaven. To set my mind on things above. I hope this encouraged you. If it did, let me know. And until the next time, I wish you all the blessings and joy in Jesus today.